We've got team coverage throughout the region tonight, but first we want to explain some of the science behind why total amounts have been changing throughout the week.
Yeah, no one better to explain all this and get nerdy with us than our winter weather expert, Noah Simmons. And give us a breakdown as to why we see such a.
Right. So I will say I'm not an expert necessarily. This is my first winter storm in Arkansas.
Yes, he
Mind
is.
you, I just like crunching the numbers, and it's kind of been interesting what's happened the last couple of days. And if we kind of look at least we'll look at liquid amounts and kind of what's at least what we're forecasting for liquid in terms of frozen precipitation, and you kind of look at our future liquid precip. This is going to be falling as frozen precip. Obviously, if you melt it down, this is the liquid you're talking about, but as forecasters, when we're trying to figure out snow totals, maybe even sleet totals, we try to figure out a good snow to liquid ratio. And this is the liquid equivalent that we're going to be seeing if you were to melt everything down. So say you had a 10-to-1 ratio. So say for every 1 inch of liquid, you'd be talking about 10 inches of snow. That's usually a good rule of thumb sometimes. I think, that might be a good rule for this winter storm around. So for example, you take Fayetteville, maybe use a 10-to-1 ratio. Now this is just one ensemble. Think of it as a mean. You kind of get to about just over a foot of snow for snowfall accumulations. Now, things get a little bit interesting when you factor in sleet because sleet does not have anything close to a 10-to-1 ratio. Sleet has a different density than snow, and it accumulates much differently than snow. Think of sleet as like a 3-to-1 ratio. So it stacks up not as efficiently as snow does. Now what we've been changed, or what really the changes that's been happening in the forecast for the last day or two is that snow-sleet line that we've been talking about. It was probably looking to be just along that I-40 corridor, really into the overnight hours tonight. This is at 3 a.m. But notice with the latest data that we've seen the last couple of model runs, that snow-sleet line is actually a little bit further south. Keep in mind, about 24 to 36 hours ago, this snow-sleet line was a little bit further north. So you don't necessarily have sleet, you don't necessarily have low snow to liquid ratios. You're not talking about a 3-to-1 ratio now. Now in the river valley, you're still talking about a 10-to-1 ratio. So you can get snow to efficiently accumulate as opposed to sleet that really doesn't accumulate as much. And the other interesting thing is that, especially with this first wave tonight, we have the potential for seeing some heavy snowfall rates. In fact, this is a graphic that we usually don't show too often, but this is the probability of 1 inch per hour snowfall rates. It's not a lock, but kind of notice here in the state of Arkansas, it's kind of highlighted right along that I-40 corridor. So some of that high resolution model guidance, sometimes painting some of that moderate to heavy snowfall rates later tonight. So certainly something interesting to talk about. We've taken that into account with our snowfall forecast the last several hours. Hopefully you found that interesting. Again, this is the last time I'll say it. Shout out to the kids out there. You got your snow. Obviously, it's going to be cold out there, so make sure everyone stays warm and safe out there, and give yourself ample time if you do have to travel this weekend.